Every single Mechwarrior 5 screenshot released to date, a little appetizer for you out there, the Mechwarrior 5 community. Hello ladies and gentlemen, greetings Mechwarriors. My name is TTB and of course it is so good to see all of you. Now today I want to go quickly over all the Mechwarrior 5 screenshots that have been released to date and give a little bit of information around them and what I can see on those screenshots. The Mechwarrior 5 beta is actually hitting today at noon Pacific time, and of course yours truly, TTB, will be active on Twitch, live streaming all of it and also doing some multiplayer together with you guys, so make sure to be there, twitch.tv/TheRealTTB. Now without further ado, let's jump into the screenshots and let's talk about what we can see. This is gonna be fun. We're starting with this first screenshot that was released during the pre-alpha. We see a griffin on a mountainside, nice little vegetation, nice bit of grass there, sparse though because we are in the mountains. Classic SRM loadout in the top as it seems. And actually that is an LRM launcher. It's got 5 tubes, very important to remember. Now switching over to the next screenshot, it's going to be in the mech bay and there is a Victor being repaired. You've got 2 lasers in the left arm and 1 autocannon, potentially 20 in the right arm, plus an SRM-6 launcher on the left side torso. And left, guys, by the way, means left on the mech, which means on the right side of your screen. That is the same Victor again in the mech bay. You can see some robotic arms doing some repair work onto him, and as well as 1 arm on the top doing some welding apparently on the shoulder, as it seems to have lost a little bit of structural integrity due to armor plates being blasted off. And it's really nice to see the scale of all of this. It's great, guys. It's great. The next screenshot they released was a Highlander in some kind of polar setting. You see a communications tower in the background, the Highlander being armed with what looks like SRM-6 in the arm, 2 lasers, the Gauss rifle in the right arm, and some LRMs in the left side torso. Then we're switching over to a fight in the cornfields. Apparently a locust, a pirate locust on the left hand side of your screen is battling a griffin, a stalker, and a dragon. So that is not a fair fight, and that locust is probably going to be dead 2 or 3 seconds after we see this screenshot. I love the height of the corn stalks in there, by the way, really, really nice. Then they released another screenshot of the mech bay. You can get a sense of scale. That figure in the middle at that blue ladder, that is a human. On the left-hand side, we have a Thunderbolt being outfitted. On the right-hand side, the Griffin once again being repaired. Also nice to see that the company colors are matching, so this is actually a nice matching set. Then, this guy's down below is a little human, and up here we have a Night Star with what looks like Gauss rifles in the arms, as well as lasers, and a laser in the center torso right below the cockpit, plus a autocannon or something like that sticking out from the cockpit, if you can make out that little bit of detail. Then we're switching over to a pretty destroyed Centurion. There is an arm missing, and that would be the arm where normally you would expect the autocannon to be located. There are 2 center torso hardpoints for lasers, and since I don't see any other hardpoints, I'm thinking this is the Yanlo Wang Hero Mech. I might be wrong, but the Yanlo Wang Hero Mech has 2 lasers CT and an AC-20, so that could have been a Yanlo Wang. This, however, guys, everybody recognizes that. That is the cockpit of an urban mech. You can see some Dakar in the right arm and a cockpit-mounted laser or side torso-mounted laser weapon. Nice detail here with some welding being done to repair the little Urbi. I'm looking forward to the Urbies. This is also something I'm looking forward to. That, guys, is a King Crab 100-ton assault mech, and it looks like it is actually being assaulted at this point by enemy missiles. You can clearly see the Dakar autocannons in the crab claws, as well as a missile launcher up top, plus some apparently like burst fire Dakar on the right side torso. Then we're switching over to a nighttime scenery, and look at this, there's an enemy tank here. It's got an LRM-10 launcher up top, apparently, and what looks like an SRM-6 launcher on the side, plus the cannon that looks like it is actually a PPC. So this thing, if it gets to you, it's going to hurt, and it's got some nice camouflage here, a little bit dark in the trees. Now we bring some light into the darkness. That is a Banshee in front of a pretty big explosion, and look at the details on the Banshee and how it gets lit up. Beautiful, just beautiful. The Banshee running an autocannon loadout, apparently with some lasers, especially that top cockpit laser is visible to me. Now this, guys, this looks to be an assassin. You can see the medium laser shooting right now. We already talked about the particle effects here, some aurora borealis in the background, and you can also make out some SRM launchers on the assassin side torsos. They're very faint, very hard to see, but they are definitely there, trust me. Now, I like this one a lot. It's a little locust running around in the foreground. On the right hand side, you can see some mech a little bit further in the distance. I can't really tell what it is. It might be a twisted Jenner or something like that. It's really hard to say, but what's exploding here seems to be some kind, potentially like a VTOL or something, and it's just a nice big boom. This, however, is easy to make out. That is a rifleman being hit by a large laser on the top, and the rifleman actually is carrying a full laser loadout. I can see 4 laser weapons, I'm guessing 2 medium lasers and 2 large lasers, and it looks just nice how it blends into the foliage and how the legs actually disappear in the shrubbery. And here we have an enforcer being hit and targeted by long-range missiles. You can see this one is running an autocannon 10 potentially in the right arm, as well as a laser in the left arm. And the cockpit actually seems a little bit bigger than in Mechwarrior Online. In the back, once again, some mountains and some grass. Now, guys, this is classic Battletech. This is your catapult, 4 medium lasers, and potentially, I think, 2 LRM-20s just walking towards its target and just releasing a cloud of LRMs towards it, and then hitting with the medium lasers at the same time. Beautiful, beautiful scenery. This is not as beautiful, I would say, but the paint job is just gorgeous. That is a quick draw. 2 lasers in the right side torso and what seems to be like an LRM-10 launcher in the left side torso, plus potentially SRM-4 right in the CT, and some lasers on the arms. Great paint job and really, really nice to look at. Now here, guys, we have a grasshopper on the left-hand side in the foreground, and in the back we have a crab, and behind that crab, hardly visible, there is a cicada next to the building with the satellite dish. Of course, grasshopper being a mech that is really, really good engaging at longer distances as well. Nice heavy mech of the inner sphere. Now this, guys, this is my favorite mech of all time, or one of my favorite mechs of all time. This is the Battlemaster on the right-hand side in the foreground with a Shadowhawk slightly further behind on the back side of the image to the left. Battlemaster classic loadout with an SRM-6 up top, plus a lot of lasers and the PPC in the right arm. This will be a lot of fun to use. This, guys, this is a Cataphract. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 hardpoints, 4 lasers here, and 2 autocannons. Note the difference in the barrels. So one of them seems to be like a burst fire weapon or ultra autocannon, and the other one is probably a LB-10 or whatever. In the back, there's also some tanks and a little bit of smoke, and once again, beautiful scenery, nice bit of detail. And this, guys, this seems to be an urban mech that just got hit by something big and nasty, and I'm thinking PPC because you can still see some residual sparks here. But yeah, that poor Urbi, that has to feel really, really, really bad. So press F to pay respects. That is nice. That is a Black Knight, the mech that fires from the hip. It's got a full-on laser loadout, what it looks like, but it could have also a PPC nozzle in the right arm, below the right arm, and also some high-up laser system on the left-hand side of his head. There actually we see it a little bit closer. Once again, you can see that it has 4 energy hardpoints at the torso, and then up top, that next to the cockpit laser, also pretty beautiful. And I like the scorching on the armor. This thing has been hit quite a bit by lasers, as it appears, because these are scorch marks and burn marks and not impact marks. Nice little bit of detail, looking good. Now here we have in the foreground, it looks like a javelin with 2 SRM-6 launchers, and in the background you can see attack helicopters, actually one of them on the left-hand side crashing, and some buildings as well. It looks like this will be full of fun effects. And by the way, our javelin, red laser, it's being hit by, I would say, a small laser at this point. Now, this is actually funny. This is a classic scout mech, guys. This is a flea. You can see it by those 2 antennae up top. Just apparently scouting an outpost in the background here at sunrise, potentially getting ready for the engagement, seeing what enemy forces are there, and then the main force arrives and kills everyone. The next screenshot they showed us was this one, which basically shows a little bit of a settlement in a little little valley here. Not that many mechs to see. There might be one to the right-hand side, but it's very faint, so I can only tell you that there are a lot of buildings here, and if there are any mechs, they're blending in well, or they're hiding. This thing is not hiding so much. That is an Orion, and he's apparently currently engaging a target, but also being engaged upon. He's firing medium lasers at the point. Look at the nice green glow on those arms and inside those mounting brackets. That looks really, really cool. And he's also taking quite a bit of damage here, but nothing that will take away from this mech. Look at the burn marks on the Orion on the left-hand side of the screen now. That is great. And on the right-hand side, there is one of TTB's favorites, the Atlas. In this case, actually carrying a Gauss rifle in the right side torso, and apparently like a LRM-10 or something on the left side torso. Interesting. In the background, we have once again the Black Knight, and up front, guys, that is an awesome unleashing its firepower right here. Looks like that he's shooting some missiles. These seem to be SRM-2s, SRM-4s, probably SRM-4s, as well as PPC, very, very noticeable. From that blue glow, I think PPC looks amazing in Mechwarrior 5. Here we have next to each other on the left-hand side an Enforcer with apparently a Dakar and PPC or laser loadout. And on the right-hand side we have a Thunderbolt. And looking at the laser mounts here, that's 9 laser mounts in total. That is the top dog hero mech. I am very sure that is the top dog hero mech. So looking forward to piloting that one. Now switching over, this seems to be a grasshopper. It's hard to make out in the foreground. Behind that grasshopper there's another mech, but you can only really see the legs, so I can't really tell you what it is. But what we can see here is the PPC firing, and that effect looks amazing. I love it. That is how I was thinking a PPC should look like. Okay, switching the scenery, we can see a little bit of a battle going on here. It's hard to make out individual mechs. On the foreground, of course, we have a cicada being hit by large lasers. That shooting the large lasers on the foreground, there is in the middle a awesome shooting PPCs at a cicada. In the back, there could be a Black Knight. On the right-hand side, looks like another cicada. Ooh, this might be straight from a cockpit, guys. This looks like an awesome just firing a PPC shot into us. And apparently there will be some color distortion and some cockpit distortion just to account for the awesome impact of the energy of the PPC and its effects onto your sensors. So I think this looks pretty cool. Well, once again, I think that is a Vindicator, looking at the form of the arms on the left-hand side of your screen. On the right-hand side, you can see a Blackjack looking on into the buildings. And right in the middle, very, very small, that could be another Enforcer getting ready just to walk through a building. And the Vindicator, by the way, is just shooting down a helicopter. That, guys, is a Phoenix Hawk. It looks like it's running a machine gun in its left arm and 1 medium laser, and the right arm seems to be carrying either 2 medium lasers or a medium laser and a large laser. I can't tell without him firing. Nice little scenery in the background, reminds a little bit of like United States, Central United States, maybe. This is a nice image, guys. This is the first image they released of the Mauler. This thing looks just massive. I mean, look at that thing. It seems to have autocannons, PPCs, and LRMs up top. And in the background, we see a Kintaro right in front of the Mauler. Very, very small, but also definitely noticeable looking at the Mauler passing by. This guy's here is a Jäger mech. Looking at the loadout, I'm thinking from the size of the barrel, either 4 AC5 or 2 AC5 and 2 AC2. Can't really tell from the projectile, but it looks great. This is how a Jäger mech is supposed to look. Long-range Dakar engagements, and actually there was some little the casings of the projectiles were falling to the ground. Nice detail. Now here we have a new mech, the left-hand side, that is showing a Zeus with the missile right fist and the right arm ending in some burst fire Dakar weapon. On the right-hand side, once again a Thunderbolt, this time just a normal model Thunderbolt with PPC, lasers, and SRM-6. Do you guys like to have a coffee by the roadside? Well, you can. And looking at this, you will also have some company buy a catapult. I think that's a catapult. It's not the K2, is it? It's the one that has the PPC arms plus the 2 medium lasers in the side torsos. Definitely a fun mech to use. There we have it. A little bit bigger, and I would say the side torsos also have 2 machine guns here. So will be interesting to see that. But yeah, he's just happily walking through the cars here and just generally making a mess. But hey, That's a battle mech for you. You don't care about cars, you just care about other battle mechs or tanks or elementals. Interesting to see here on the left-hand side, we have a cataphract walking through a wall. In front of that, we have a armored vehicle. And on the right-hand side, we've got a smoking tank, we've got a banshee and a cicada getting engaged by long-range missiles. So the lance is engaging and about to destroy the enemy. This is not a fair fight here, guys. This looks like it is a victor. Potentially, it looks like a victor from the back on the right-hand side versus a wolfhound on the left-hand side. And this is a classic wolfhound setup with the large laser in the right arm, plus the medium lasers in the CT/side torsos. This will not be healthy for this little guy. Once again, the Zeus up front. I love the detail on the glowing burn marks from the enemy laser fire. In the background, I think we have the High there, Javelin, and as well as an assassin further to the left. Once again, stomping around in the cornfields. I see there is a thing going on here. Now we have an enemy VTOL apparently on the right-hand side, left-hand side, sorry, a little bit covered with snow. On the right-hand side, we see another armored vehicle with some sort of autocannon up top. No mechs in this screenshot, but some nice Aurora Borealis on the top and some buildings located besides some mountains and a streetlight. Oh, and there we have a tank. It actually says caution on the back of the, what I assume is a fuel tank. This one is equipped definitely with missiles and a PPC that's being unleashed to damage a target further ahead. Notice the distortion effect from all of this. That looks pretty cool. Like they definitely nailed the lighting on this one. Then they also released a sequence of 3 screenshots showing a helicopter crashing into a building. So the helicopter is being shot down by a battle mech. You can see it in the middle of the screen right now. He's trailing some fire and some smoke, which looks pretty nice. And there's also another helicopter or something else impacting right on the ground as we are speaking. Now the helicopter crashes down, the other one has already crashed, and you can see the explosion is starting to grow a little bit. We will see more fire, we will see more smoke, and we actually see some destruction on these buildings in the next screenshot. It would have been awesome to see that as an animation, but hey, we've seen that in the trailer already, so let's see. There we go. So as you can see now, it's crashed in, and that left side building is actually being damaged at this point, and I'm guessing it's probably going to crumble once the model of the helicopter finally crashes into it, and it's probably gonna break it down. So nice destructible terrain, should be cool to see, especially when you shoot down big stuff from the air that just crashes into other targets. In the foreground, once again, we have a Jäger mech. This one definitely looks like AC5 and AC2 up top because those are different sized barrels, and 2 medium lasers being fired. And on the background, you see a destroyed tank and a Shadowhawk with a 4 medium laser and maybe AC10 or AC5 loadout, ready to pounce on the enemy. Switching scenery to this end of day screenshot, we see on the right hand side the catapult that we mentioned before unleashing its double PPCs onto a target. On the left hand side, we see an enforcer and a crab actually further to the left, getting some engagement done onto enemy targets here. Beautiful. There we go. That is a interestingly colored Centurion in the middle here, SRMs in the side torso, and the autocannon 10 or autocannon 20 in the right arm being engaged upon by a mech. That cockpit looks a little bit like a crab cockpit, so I would say this might be a crab, but I may be mistaken. Oh, there we go. That is a crab firing 2 large lasers, and he's standing in front of a pretty big explosion. So the explosion is lighting him up quite nicely. I like that. And they're fighting in the rain, which is great. That should improve cooling. If it's realistic, it should improve cooling by a little bit. We'll see. Now we've got a blackjack mech up front. This one seems to be 2 AC2 and 4 or 6 medium lasers. You can't really tell because there's some smoke coming out of the barrels. But it's nice to see that they added this amount of detail. And I like the color and paint scheme. It really fits well into the whole city area. Here you can see here the guy actually destroying a building with his blackjack. And yeah, it looks like autocannons and 4 medium lasers, if you count the laser beams. In the background, in the center, you can also see an assassin ready and waiting, maybe standing guard to cover his teammate. We don't know at this point, but they're definitely destroying some kind of power plant. There we go, that's a different view. Here we have the assassin engaging in the background. I think that is an enforcer. And to the left, far to the left, we see a centurion engaging with his center torso lasers. And if they are center torso lasers, I would expect this to be potentially Lian Luang, but we can't be sure. Then we have up front and in full glory, the mauler. It mauls things. Yeah, it actually does what it says. It's been hit quite a bit by what I presume are lasers or PPC fire, but it's gonna stand its ground and still looks fairly healthy. And in the back we have some sort of maybe anti-aircraft tank. I can't really tell. Then we have a cataphract. Looks like to be one that has an AC-20 in the right side torso and potentially 2 medium lasers up top in the side torsos and a large laser in the left arm, but we don't know that. And once again, nice scenery here in the mountainside in the Arctic freezing circle. Switching over to another battle scene in some kind of base in some kind of rocky mountains, we have once again an enforcer engaging versus a centurion. That is almost a fair fight, I would say. So will be interesting to see how that one plays out, but it looks really good in terms of lighting, especially the shell about to hit the centurion. And there you can see the centurion in a little bit more detail. He's actually shooting, what I find interesting, a small laser from the right arm. And he's got quite some battle scar. He looks like some of his shields have been dented and whatnot. This looks great. This looks how a battle mech is supposed to look like after engaging the enemy. There's also some tanks to the left of your screen. Now we're switching over to the Terra Firma version, apparently, of Mechwarrior 5, we see a rifleman from the back. You can see that by that T-shaped spoiler on the top of the mech, and it seems to have some autocannons and it's engaging with autocannons and lasers onto an enemy target in the back that looked like an archer, but it was hard to see. This is the second to last screenshot being released. We see a cataphract, a hunchback, a stalker in the background on the right hand side, and furthest to the right, a catapult getting ready to fight. Nice camouflage, blends in well with the environment. And guys, the last screenshot they released up until now, the jump ship with the dropship detaching that I already mentioned before. Now guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you saw some cool sights of MW5. Join me today when we live stream the first steps in the beta. I'll see you there, twitch.tv/therealttb. Thanks for watching and take care guys. Bye bye.